Okay, hello everybody, and we are very pleased to welcome all of you at the Q&A meetup with 3M India and United Way Bangalore panelist, and with Jayanti Basu Malik, who is an independent assessor. On behalf of the challenge team at 3M CII Young Innovators Challenge Awards 2020, I welcome all the guest speakers for the session. This is the seventh season of the challenge, and 3M India continues their commitment to support youth-led innovation. YICA 2020. YICA is the short form of Young Innovators Challenge Awards. It's scouting for impact innovators ready to lead transformation across all spheres of sustainable living. We welcome Smita Gopalakrishnan, Lokesh
Hi.
Gujarappa, and Jay
Yeah.
Jayanti Basumalik to answer some of the compelling questions that actually can help all the potential entrants to make strong entries. So I'm going to actually turn to each of the panelists for a quick introduction. So Smita, can you just introduce yourself under a minute and give us an example of an innovation that you know of, a youth-led innovation that you know of and you have been really touched or impressed by?
Yes, hi, Indani. Thank you so much for setting this up. My name is Smita Gopal Krishnan, and I lead CSR and communications at 3M India Limited. And I've been associated with the Young Innovators Challenge program for the last 7 years. It's an initiative that we are doing in partnership with CII. And over the course of 7 years, we've really seen many ideas and innovations come to the fore. Um, One of the things that we're really excited about this year is that we have a lot more partners who are helping us access ideas from across the country, and we're also getting to do a lot of virtual sessions, meetups like this one that we're doing, and I look forward to a really interesting session today.
Great. Hi, Lokesh Gujarappa. Lokesh, you're from United Way, Bangalore. Can you also give a short introduction of your academic background and your experience in M&E as a monitoring and evaluation expert? And
Thanks,
an
Indrani.
innovation, example of an innovation. Sorry.
Definitely. Definitely. Thanks, Indrani, for this opportunity, and thanks to 3M also. So my name is Lokesh, and I'm predominantly heading the monitoring and evaluation component at the CSR partner of 3M United Way Bangalore. But when I look at innovation, one thing that really clicked while I was working in rural India, especially in Karnataka, uh, where I came across this innovation of a chap, just a 12th standard pass student. He's kind of collecting the flowers which are kind of these devotees put up in the temples, right? Now this guy, I just met once, and he was like, collecting those flowers from across 3 to 4 temples, drying those flowers, making it a powder, and kind of coming out with an incense stick, and kind of marketing that. So I mean, in my kind of 20 years of service, I couldn't see anything of like this. A small intervention, a small innovation, which had kind of led to kind of developing an enterprise, also kind of giving an employment to some like 9 to 10 women in that particular village. So I think to sum it up, I mean, innovation can come from anywhere. I literally look forward to being part of 3M Young Innovator Challenge Award as a result.
Great. Jay Jayanti, the same question to you. Introduction under a minute and an example of an innovation.
Thank you, Indrani. First, I would like to thank 3M as well as Indrani for bringing me to this team and making me a part of this team. So I'm Jayanti Basu Malik. I'm a geologist by background, and I have extensive experience in the oil and gas industry, both in India and internationally. If you look at the current scenario, the world is progressing towards cleaner and greener energy solutions. And we are always looking forward for innovative ideas which would bring forth such solutions. For an example, I can think of a few years back, a 15-year-old girl named Hannah Hurst in Florida. She proposed an idea whereby a stable power source can be obtained for developing countries by using untapped energy sources from ocean currents like winds and tides. So, and this idea was actually awarded by 3M in the USA. So, this kind of pioneering ideas are what we should be looking forward to from the youth of today, because that's only going to help us to look forward for a better and sustainable future.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Welcome, Gaurav. Welcome, Basant. Welcome, Vishesh. We are going to take your question in 15 minutes. We have a few questions which is generic to all participants. So I'll start with those questions first. So Smita, I will actually turn to you first to just give a very short overview. What has been the genesis of the Young Innovators Challenge Awards, and what is the expectation of 3M in terms of youth-led innovation that you look that the challenge looks forward to?
So we started this initiative in 2014. It actually came as an opportunity that members of the CII group, a group of companies, they were planning the India Innovation Summit, and it was the 10th anniversary of the India Innovation Summit. This is a flagship event that CII organizes every year. And at that, because it was the 10th anniversary, there was an idea to let's use the platform to, recognize young innovators, especially student innovators, people who are doing some great work, research work, etc. So it started out with that idea, and then I think with each passing year, we've really broadened the scope to include young innovators to also meet with the changing times. As you see, students in engineering colleges and medical colleges are not the only ones who are working on ideas. There is also a lot of startups, a lot of people working in the social entrepreneurship space, who are really working on some cutting edge ideas. And we also realize that innovation is not just a product. It's also to do with technology led solutions which are bringing communities together, which are finding different ways in which a community can address the issue of water, scarcity of water, whether it's agriculture, even education, mental health. Over the years, what we also realized is that one of the questions we asked ourselves is, are we really getting ideas from all kinds of innovators? Because we do once in a while, we would get an innovator who was a farmer in Rajasthan who would send an application, and we said, these people also need an opportunity to compete on an even playing field, right? So, which is when we introduced about 3 years ago, we introduced the rural innovation category, which was only focused on looking at ideas from the rural sector. It could be ideas even by, it could even be the work of rural innovators, people from rural communities, or it could be from organizations, independent entrepreneurs who are working with rural communities. So that's essentially how the challenge has evolved over the years. And Today it's a pretty open, it's a pretty open field, because we get so many diverse ideas. It's not just limited to specific topics. For example, to give you an idea, to give you an example, last year we had we had a team that was looking at a way in which the transgender community could get employment in the corporate sector.
Yeah.
We've had organizations that, so we've had a group that looks at, mental health education. We've had a group that, works solely in the area of, you know, um, solely in the area of agriculture, looking at more sustainable ways of growing crops, to something which is like the next an auto sensor to prevent accidents, right? So these are all the diverse kinds of innovations that have come out. And what has struck us in all of these ideas, and when we interact with the innovators, is all of them have such a good understanding of the problem they're trying to solve, right? Because that's really what strikes us when we are evaluating is the understanding of the problem. When we are in a company, we may not have we may not have the perspective that what really happens in on the ground. Our knowledge is probably from the news, but it is people like these innovators who are who have the courage to choose a problem, have the empathetic attitude to say, okay, that is something I'd like to take up, and then find a way to bring like-minded people to find a solution. So this is basically what really we look for, is a good understanding of the problem, and how you're able to bring your idea to the next stage.
Great. Actually, you set up that context because my next question was to Lokesh only. Lokesh, you are actually serving on a lot of panel reviewing pitches of you young innovators. You actually have judged a lot of competitions other than the kind of the Young Innovators Challenge Award. So I will want to kind of hear from you. What does a jury look for in an innovation pitch? When a youth innovator or any innovator is making a pitch, whether it is a startup or it's kind of a student or any project or anything, even from your own, because you are working with the corporates and kind of pitching them projects and ideas. So, what do you think a jury looks for or a decision maker looks for in a pitch?
Thanks, Indrani. And I think I would rather start with what are the mistakes, because I think that's really kind of will be more focused in terms of giving guidance to the new innovators, who could then kind of take it up, cue from that and pitch their ideas too. So in general, when I started associating with YICA from last year, we're almost part of the evaluation team, and when I looked at many of the entries. The first thing that as an evaluator, when I see, the first thing that comes to mind is, the narrative. The narrative. There is too much of narrative, that is coming up in picture. So, I mean, usually, whenever a project proposal is made, and I put myself in that particular shoes of an innovator who is pitching their ideas, So in that case, how do I pitch this? I mean, it has to be short, it has to be crisp, and as Smita was suggesting, the crux of the matter is understanding the problem, and also when you make a pitch, reporting that particular problem in a very precise manner. So I think that's the key as a first step, in terms of evaluating any pitch that kind of comes to the evaluator. So I would suggest, I kind of listed down. Permit me to read that. This, some of the common mistakes, that I see from in many of the pitches. So one is, I'll start with the complete and the correct pitch as per the ask. So this is something which is very important when you're asked. I mean, there are guidelines which are given in terms of how do you pitch and how to write it. The entries have to be complete and correct. So that's the first step, that the person has to ensure, so that it goes to the next level. I mean, if you submit only half entries, half completed entries, please mind that it will not go to the next stage. So first simple stage is complete it and ensure that you completely corrected it. The next thing is lack of a clear problem statement. I see. I mean, it's like you're somewhere, it's like because hazy down the line, when you read. So I suggest, make it very crisp, one paragraph maybe on in terms of, what you want to solve, what is the problem you want to solve. We know that the enterprises, the companies have set up to solve some of the other problem that exist in this world. So what is your problem that you're going to solve? So be clear in terms of, stating that particular thing. The third thing is I see, again, a lot of important, what we say in monitoring and evaluation is outputs and outcomes are kind of lost in the narrative. So although there is an idea, a very good idea, although they have a kind of, a good pitch, but then it gets kind of lost in the narrative, which I have seen last year also in terms of, applications. So I suggest, come up with a clear, measurable outputs, what you want to achieve, Once you have an idea, okay, this is how we are going to solve the problem. Yeah, and okay, what solving the problem will lead to what? I mean, what you're going to achieve out of solving this problem? State this correctly. Many times, this is especially lost in the narrative. And the last thing which I would like to say is, every action that the pitcher proposes, it has to be a time bound. So whenever that pitch comes in, whenever an idea is pitched, whenever a kind of prototype is pitched, ensure that there is a specific timeline aligned with that particular idea. We can't be eternally solving that particular idea. So you have to have a time-bound approach in terms of how you're going to solve that particular idea. So I think these are the four major learnings I would like to share with the participants.
Thank you so much. Actually, Lokesh, thank you so much for setting that context, because now my next question is to Jay Jayanti. Jay Jayanti has been actually reviewing some of the applications that we have received so far, and one of the things that we have seen is that there has been a disproportionate ratio between stating the problems, giving the problem statement and the idea pitch. First of all, I like to, because everybody who is viewing us live and otherwise who will be kind of viewing the video, I would like to say two things. When we say you have to give an idea, it means that you should have been working on this idea for a while. It is not an idea that you have to conceive while actually just making the entry. So please think of an idea that you have been working on, for which you have a proof of concept, for which you have a plan of action, and that is what we are inviting. So Jay Jayanti, we just like to ask you kind of what you have seen, that there is a disproportionate kind of answers being given in terms of like stating the problem statement and pitch. So what has been your observation, and what are your recommendations for the future entrants, or even people can resubmit? So please hear her well.
Yes, thanks, Indrani. So, from my observation, what I saw that in some of the entries, when you are asked to describe your idea in the very beginning in few lines, some of the entrants are writing a lot about the problem and not focusing on the idea itself. So it's like the balance between what you are proposing and why you are proposing. So if you are going too much with the why, and then at the end you forget focusing on the what, then see, this idea, the first few lines of your brief description of your idea is going to be the first impression for your evaluator. So the evaluator is going to make the first idea what is being proposed, and if you do not write it, you are just like giving a very detailed explanation of the problem, which definitely should be there because it is the thing which actually encouraged you to come up with the solution. But then if you're telling us the solution itself in the very first answer in the form, then we are kind of lost. So my suggestion would be write it in 3-4 lines, but make sure at least 75% of that answer should be the idea itself. Write the keywords, the key principles, or the key concepts that are going behind your idea. Write that. If it is a product, if it is a service, or if it is a solution or like innovation in the rural context, just write it in 3-4 lines, and of course write one sentence on the problem it is addressing to. Okay, but do not focus more on the problem in the very first answer, because then we are lost. Like, what are you proposing? So that is the thing that I would say. And yes, of course, you have to explain the problem that you're trying to solve. Explain it more in the proof of context. Okay, there you give like point by point, like what is the problem that you are seeing around yourself, what is the context, and what is your solution to it. So do that line like point by point and in details in the proof of context section, not in the very first section. In the first section, you need to give a crisp, as Lokesh already pointed out, a crisp, a precise, and clearly worded. So if you are not very confident about the idea, talk to your friends, talk to your teachers, or the people who are referring you, talk to them and get a very clear cut description of your idea.
Thank you, thank you. So, Smita, actually coming to you, a lot of our entrants or a lot of the potential entrants have kind of, they are looking at the categorization that we have offered under the challenge. So, there are three categories: product innovation, service innovation, and rural and inclusive innovation. Now, can you give a short overview of the justification of the categorization and also some examples that you have seen which can fit these categories?
Yeah, sure. So, we deliberated a lot about the categories, and uh, as I said, it's also the categorization is also a reflection of how the challenge has evolved. Starting with more product, expanding it to the service aspects of driving an innovative idea to having ideas from inclusive communities. So if we take each category, the product category is basically what we're looking at. And before I get into the categorization, I want to actually spend some time and give you a distinction between the two prizes that we offer under each category. So we offer an idea prize and an impact prize. And there's a reason why we have this distinction. It's because, we realize that from the entries that we keep getting, there are many, aspirants who are at an idea stage. They may have a simple working prototype, and they really are looking to, uh, you know, go to the next level, right? As compared to maybe a group or a team who have already, they've probably got an organization, they've set up an NGO, they've, got a startup or an enterprise, and they have had like at least 3 years where they have tried this prototype, they've tested it, and they are probably also, they have feedback from people who have used it or the communities who have used it. So it wouldn't be fair to really compare the two, right? And that was something that we also noticed, through our judging process. So which is why we said that let's have an idea prize which is really looking at early stage ideas, and then let's have an impact prize which is looking at organizations that have at least had a minimum of 3 years of being institutionalized. And then, then what they're really looking for is recognition, access to networks. Whereas the idea stage, the idea prize winner is really looking to, okay, with this funding I can, at least get something more done. I can progress a little further down my, down my journey. So that's the distinction I wanted to bring under each category. Now let's talk about the categories. Product innovation really looks at, a product led idea. So it has to be, something that is rooted in science, rooted in some, either a pure science, or it could be a tech idea. But the point is that there is a tangible product that somebody can, use, somebody can buy, or it is accessible to somebody, right? So that's the product aspect of it. And the kind of jury that we involve are, are research scientists. They are, who work on development of products. So the products can also be, if you're looking at a healthcare device, it could be device, it could even be some kind of a formulation that has, that helps with, solving an issue. So all of that comes under product. Okay. Now let's talk about service, right? Service is basically it. The key word here is connection. How does the idea connect with the larger problem, and how does it bring or aggregate various players to create a solution? Right. So you will see that, with technology, with applications, with the internet, we are able to connect, different elements or different players to create a solution. So, for example, for example, if you have an idea that is looking at, say, the issue of mental health, right? You may or may not have a product per se, but you would have, say, you would have devised an app, right? An app like something like a Headspace, which has got course content, which has got different kind of curated bite-sized learning modules. And then you have that app which is then, targeting, say, a specific group of communities, group of, like, say, young people, or say people below the, from, or school children. So what I'm trying to say is you're looking at your problem as part of a system. as part of like uh, as part of I'm saying you're looking at a solution as part of a system, so it's not just the product alone, right? It's
Yes,
the
yes.
system. Okay, so that's something that you need to think about. So often we find that there are some overlaps, there are some products which are also part of a system. Okay, so in such cases what we really look at is we look at the strength, right? Is it so a lot of the engineering students, who are working on research-led ideas, which are leading to product. Those are very clearly we put it under product. But then there are a few where there is a product, but it's also part of a system. So then that's where we see that, is the product bringing in a certain systems thinking, then we categorize it under service, because then you're really you've also thought of the system in which this solution can be applied. Okay, and then last is rural innovation, right? Rural innovation is broad. The solution could be a product, it could be a service, but it has to solve the problem of a rural community. It has to be related to, sorry, it has to be related to solving specific agricultural issues, solving specific, societal or rural community. Um, it could be related to water access. It could be related to, like for example, last year we had the white coal jute sticks, right? A more sustainable way to use the waste from agricultural waste to do something, right? If there is something that is, I'm just trying to recall some rural ideas. Um, I'm sorry, my mind is blanking out, but I mean, the one that I can think of is this.
Yeah,
So one of the,
yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
I think yes, I think one of the things, because a lot of people have that confusion, just to kind of make it a little more precise, I will say, like, if you look at Google, I'm giving you big brand names so that probably it can help. Google is a search engine product, okay? So because it does not need it's a user interface friendly product. It does not require a human interface. So that is exactly what we are looking under a product category, where you are not dependent on a human interface. Service needs a human interface. Like all of the people I'm giving you brands that you will associate with, like Swiggy, like Ola. So if you have a problem in using the service, you're calling the customer care. So you need a human interface. And rural and inclusive is any idea that is applicable to either a remote community, a rural community, or a disadvantaged community. So these are things which can be farming, any agricultural initiatives, even initiatives like irrigation, or initiatives which is applicable to remote communities. If it is rural, like it can be literacy, it can be sanitation, or in the disadvantaged community of urban, semi-urban, peri-urban areas, like there can be certain advantages in terms of how they manage their lifestyle, improved lifestyle, say kind of through apps. So there has been an app called Baba Jobs, which is an app where people can list themselves. Now you also have Urban Clap, so these are things which are just example of where people can actually improve their kind of skills. They can actually improve their employability by uploading their skills. Okay, so I'm actually while I still have one question for Lokesh and Jay Jayanti, I'm going to actually just answer Vishesh Jain. Vishesh Jain, you're asking, are we still eligible to participate? Yes, all of you are eligible to participate until 30th of July. The deadline has been extended until 30th of July. So feel free to resubmit. Even if you have made a submission, we are going to eliminate, or we are going to remove the submission which has lesser data. So do not worry. And also we have provided you with our email address and our WhatsApp. So if you have any issues, please call us, and we will make sure that we select the entry that you are more comfortable with. So yes, please go ahead and make submissions, resubmissions, changes that you want until 30th of July. Another question that we have is that if you have uploaded a form on Dare to Compete, is it possible to upload again? Of course, it is possible. If Dare to Compete allows you to resubmit, it is fine. It is fine. But otherwise, we are accepting resubmissions. So it's fine. If you want to dare to compete, gives you a feature where you can go and edit your form. Please feel free to go and edit your form, or you resubmit it. One of that. So you also have the dare to compete chat facility. So please chat with dare to compete. Your help, so that you are able to make resubmissions. Okay, coming back to Lokesh, I just wanted to ask you one question, which is a very critical question in our entry form. We are looking at the social impact. So a lot of people, because we are also asking people, if you are you have to state which state of, which stage of idea you are in. They can be at conceptual stage. They can be in a prototyping stage. They could be at institutionalization is underway, which means that probably they are going to form a formal company or a organization, or institutionalized under 4 years of age, which means startups, which are under 4 years of age. Now, taking into account that you have diverse kind of people, you have diverse entrants who are invited into this challenge. How you think, social impact? Can you just give quickly one example or one tip for each category, how they can state a compelling social impact?
Well, I think if I look at these two categories, idea stage as well as implementation stage. What at idea stage, what specifically as an evaluator we look at is whether the person or the individual or an institute has looked at this problem, from a one thing, whether it has rooted, the idea has been rooted properly in the problem statement. What Jai Jayanti was also mentioning the other few moments before. One is the rooting of the problem, rooting of the idea into the problem. Number two is whether the person or the institute has looked at or taken a 360-degree angle view of addressing that particular problem. So that's something which I think the second thing which we look at, and also the third thing is how is it's going to. I mean, the idea is going to make an impact in terms of in terms of the geographical area, or in terms of the number of people who are going to use that particular idea of the innovation. So these are the three critical areas, I would say, at an idea stage, we look at. Whereas at the implementation stage, what we specifically look at is in terms of any kind of validation of that idea, whether it has happened. So, and that validation has been kind of, submitted, with this particular idea. That's very critical for us. And I think also the second point that comes at an implementation stage is, scaling up of that particular idea. So in terms of cost effectiveness of a particular innovation, that's something becomes super critical at that stage, and that's very important to look at.
Okay, great. And also, Jay Jayanti, I want to ask you, because you have read a few, ideas, you have read a few submissions. So can you just tell, what are some tips of improving the statement? One thing before you respond, I want to say is that I have observed that a lot of queries are coming that we have just started an idea. So I will like to quickly tell everybody who is watching or will watch and who are planning to make a submission is that you have to imagine an impact. For example, if you are a gaming app, okay, and you probably that gaming app is for children who can improve their IQ, then that is the impact where we want to say that, okay, you have to state that, okay, what is the audience and what are you expecting your app to do. Okay, so similarly, like a TikTok was an app, okay, and it was supposed to entertain. That is exactly what we are looking in terms of when we say please look at the impact. But social impact means it should have a positive impact on people. So Jay Jayanti, so just can you quickly tell us, like, what is a social impact and how you are looking as a kind of an assessor, how you're looking at a social impact? What do you mean by social impact and just impact?
Indrani, just before answering to your question, I want to add one more thing, just so that we don't forget in this discussion. That's there's one question on uniqueness of the idea. I just wanted to put that and then go to the social impact thing. So in the uniqueness, try to add similar kind of ideas which are already there in the market. So of course you might be coming up with a product or service which is really new, but there might already be something which is similar, which is working on some similar concept already there in the market, but then you are confident that your idea, your product, your innovation is one step ahead of that. So make sure that you put that up in that uniqueness query. So there, try, like, look for, like, do some market research. Like, if you have an idea, try to see if there is something which is already there in the market. So put it up and do the comparison, so that for the evaluator as well, we know that, okay, yes, this does look unique because it is giving something extra which is not there already available. Okay, so this is something. And then secondly, with the social impact, so for the social impact thing, what I feel that some of the answers are really very long, very essay, and then the narrative is really long. You don't need to, like, put so much of details which are not actually helping with the cause. So do what, like, put the exact precise problem that you are trying to address with your solution, and then try to measure it. It might not have exact numbers, but still try to measure. Like, if suppose you have to do something with like a survey with the community, try to measure it with some idea, some imagination, because of course we know it's not something which is already executionable, which is something operational. It is in the idea stage, or maybe in the prototype stage, but still you should have some idea in your mind as to how much impact is it going to do, or how much impact is it's going to on the whole society, so, or the planet or climate or whatever. So make sure you try to give as much concise answer with that. Try to imagine, because that is what we are looking for. Innovation that needs imagination, so try to imagine as much as you can.
Great, thank you. So I think now we have a lot of participants, who want certain answers. So I'm going to, because Desh Deepak Singh, the backend team, if you can just take the question of Desh Deepak Singh. He's saying, is anybody seeing the live chat? Yes, we are seeing, and we'll start taking the questions. So okay, so the first question I'm actually going to take is from Gaurav Katalia. The first question that you asked. Please, if you can take this question on the screen. We need help in lab testing of our mask to check effectiveness. So how can 3M help? Now, first of all, I would like to say that you will have to make an entry, and if of course, we can connect you with experts. But yes, Smita, if you have an entrant who has actually probably the idea is a mask, and 3M itself also has a mask. What kind of expertise, or what kind of help or guidance can be provided by 3M to such an entrant?
So, I'm going to react to it I see a couple of questions, related questions that have come on the chat. Basically, I think the question is coming from, okay, we are making something which would be very relevant to 3M. So, would it, can 3M, and because 3M makes so many diverse products, and we have, sorry, we have diverse technologies, there may be an expectation that will 3M be able to commercialize that product and help in product commercialization. So one thing I just want to make very clear is that for 3M, this initiative is to recognize young innovators and their ideas and provide a stage for it and provide a wider access to networks and give a lot of coverage for these ideas. So we are very clear that the seed fund or the prize money that is given is only to help the team or the innovator to progress, to advance. It is not related to product commercialization or anything like that. Neither do we make a commitment to commercialize any of them if we see an opportunity, because that is not the intent of the challenge at all. But having said that, we are very open to mentoring innovators who are working in these areas, because we have scientists, we have a lot of our we have a lot of science experts who can provide guidance and knowledge and also make connections. And that is something that we have always done for all our winners in the past. One of the things that we do as part of the winners, the prize. I mean, apart from the cash prize, is of course the experience that the winner gets to visit and spend an entire day in our innovation lab. We expose them to all the kinds of technologies that we work on. We also have one-on-ones with our R&D scientists, where the innovator can ask questions, and all of those have led to a lot of further discussion. So last year, one of our winners, who came up with a water filter, Nirnal water filter. It is to do with water purification, and we have experts in that, with that expertise. So the Nirnal team actually came over and spent a day over and above the this is after the event, after the innovation summit. They spent a day with our scientists to discuss their idea, discuss how to go further, some problems or challenges they're facing. So the point I'm trying to make is that we have always kept our doors open whenever whenever our innovators have reached out for help in that way. But yes, we don't make any commitment to commercialize any of these ideas.
Great. Thank
That's
you.
done.
Thank you. So, Gaurav, I think, and Gaurav and people who have similar questions, this is a challenge where we are looking at your innovations. We are really looking at recognizing, as Smita said, recognizing your innovations. We are really not into a business transaction. So, please, when you are coming into this forum, have, kind of, probably the best expectation that you can set is that you are going to make a lot of connections. You're going to learn from your peers. You will have access to expert insights. Even during, a lot of people are asking questions about what is the next stage. Once you enter the competition, you become part of a community which will be undergoing a review process. So we basically have two stages in which we give feedback. One is that we say, okay, we've received, this kind of, we do a trend analysis of what kind of ideas have come and what we think about, like, how we have some general inputs for everybody, because we receive a lot of entries. So we give some general insights to everyone. And then also there is a big community of innovators who get the advantage of undergoing the evaluation process, where they connect with domain experts and they keep refining themselves in their idea also professionally. So please take those as kind of your own development. Those are benefits that you get in terms of maybe kind of improving the way you pitch, improving the way you conceive an idea or a product, or even for that matter in your professional competency. So having said all of that, hopefully, Gaurav, that is answered, and likewise a lot of people, you have got the answer. I'd like to take the
And
question from Sangam Sahu. Sangam Sahu is saying that, ma'am, Smita, probably the question is for you. He says that, ma'am, we are working on cooling solution which comes under product innovation category. We have a prototype. Due to COVID, it is hard for us to show the model. Is it possible to show 3D render during the jury process?
yeah, so we completely understand the unique circumstances under which the challenge is being run this year. So we are open to any ways in which you are able to demonstrate the capability and the potential of your idea. So my suggestion is, don't limit your thinking. And there was also a related question about, due to COVID, we're not able to build our prototype. The point is, it's how you communicate your idea at this point. This is also new for us. I'll be very candid in saying is that this year the evaluation, the judging is going to be under unique circumstances. So we're going to try our best to really see your vision, and this is where your ability to bring out the story is important. One of the things I wanted to point out is when you think about the story of change that you're trying to bring with your innovation, because that is your biggest hook. Okay, a lot of the, at least I speak for myself, a lot of the ideas that stick in my head from past winners, it is because of the powerful story that they say. And the powerful story can be in various forms. It usually is from a personal experience. It is where the innovator has personally experienced the problem, that the community has faced or has gone through it, and therefore feels the need to solve it, right? And that personal connection stays, and that is what you should try to position your idea like that, because otherwise how are you going to make your idea memorable, right? And then it is really up to the, because the powerful story is important. And then during the evaluation, and I'm talking here about the semi-final stage and the final stage, and I think even in the shortlisting stage we have introduced the opportunity for people to speak in the form of a video, and we realize how important it is for you to be able to talk about your idea. I saw another question on the chat saying that I may have an award winning idea, but I may not be able to put it down in words, and we completely understand that. We've seen that in the case with rural innovators who are not able to converse in English, which is why we introduced the whole video format to explain your idea. You're able to show us something, you're able to talk about it. And a lot of times, what really captures our heart is the passion with which you speak and the vision that you have. And those are things, which is within your control. And it has nothing to do with COVID. Okay. So just remember that when you are putting in your application, is you have to believe in it, and you have to make us believe in your vision. Okay.
Great. So I like to take us a same kind of a question that also Vishesh Jain, if we can pull in Vishesh Jain's question, where he has said we have designed a very affordable product to kill airborne pathogens in indoor areas. We have a proof of concept, but we are facing challenge in designing the prototype due to the current scenario. So Smita, I know the answer, but if you can just say, like, what, and probably I'll come to Lokesh also in this. What is your advice to Vishesh Jain so that he submits a winning idea? Proof of concept. So Lokesh, do you want to start? Like, what kind of a proof of concept that Vishesh should focus on?
Uh, I think I mean, as Smita was suggesting, even a video of that particular idea, or I mean, I understand, so there is an application form and they can fill and bring in, the relevance for their ideas. But even in the form of a video could also be possible. And I don't think there is any restriction as of now, given the current situation that we are in. So whichever way, even a PowerPoint presentation, if that idea comes in, I think we should be able to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Smita.
just want to add that, think about, so we are assuming here is that you've hopefully been documenting the process of your work, right? It's important to document it in the form of photographs, because it helps. Even your drawings. See, because one of the things we really look for is the work that you're putting in, right? Is the rigor that you're putting in. What is the how many months have you spent on it, or how many, if you've spent years, how many years have you spent on your idea? What are the different levels in which you have progressed, right? Because clearly what you're sharing with us during this pitch is the collection of, is a journey. It's not like, okay, you've thought of something and you've come up with it. You've clearly had guidance from some of your research guides. You've clearly done some dipsticks, some surveys. You have tested it in, with some smaller communities. So all of that needs to be brought into your story, to show that, and that's all part of the prototyping stage. So, I just want to say one thing: prototyping is not only an actual physical product. Okay, the prototyping phase is you trying things out. You are not sitting with a blank canvas where you have just an idea on a piece of paper or a PowerPoint presentation. You have actually done the work of talking to people. You have actually said, okay, I'm going to just try something out with, and just build on it. And that process is called rapid prototyping. And that process is what leads you to be able to say, okay, I have tried something out, and this is what I've learned, right? So you prototype at various points, you have learnings, and you bring your learnings. Okay, so that journey is important, and that is basically your proof of concept, is showing that journey and how your thinking has evolved to reach where you are, and then you say, okay, you know what, I am ready to take this idea to the next level. This is the vision I have, this is the plan that I have, and try as much as possible to back it up with facts, you know, um, back it up with data. So I don't know, I hope this is
Okay.
helpful.
Yes, yes. Now I think just because Lokesh said that a video is a good idea, and we are saying like all of this, so Vishesh Jain and other people are also asking, is video essential? And like, can we send video via email? No, if you look at the if you look at the online form, also on our website, you can download the Word document entry form. So I have been hosting a Zoom session every evening at 6:45, between 6:45 to 7:30, where all of you actually join me live to ask questions. Please, I have been telling you that please first to download the Word document entry form. Take some time, take a day to build that. And if you have already got certain things ready, make a nice deck and kind of, upload it on your Google Drive and put a link that we can access. But at this stage, focus on your narrative. The round of the question, a lot of you are asking also, what is the rounds that will be kind of, what are the rounds of evaluation? So quickly telling you that we have, this is the round where we have invited applications, and until 30th of July, you will be making your submission. Everybody is free to make submissions. After 30th of July, we will move to the next round, which is going to, which we call shortlisting. So all the screened positive, it means that if you're eligibility, you should go and check out the eligibility on our website. But broadly, we are looking at eligibility in terms of age. You should be between 18 to 30. We just saw that somebody, Akansha, I think you're in class 9. I'm sorry, you will have to wait for a few more years, but you can be part of the challenge. But yeah, the age eligibility is 18 to 30. You should have an idea with a proof of concept that will make you eligible. If you have just ideated something maybe a week back and you do not have enough paperwork to show, that will not be eligible. You have to be an Indian resident, and your solution should be applicable to India. It should be in English, and also you should one of the main thing is that you should not have been recognized anywhere else. So if you have an idea which is supported by a seed grant, or you have got a fellowship, is fine, but your idea should not have been recognized as an achievement. Okay, so no award from state government or national government or international awards. These are not merits, because this is a recognition platform, and that is exactly what we want to do, is give you an access to a kind of a network where you are able to showcase your innovation. So we are really wanting to promote the first timers who have an innovation. Also, some of you are asking about the next stages. Once you all participate, all the screened positive entries, which means if you're eligible entries, we will convene an online community who will be regularly provided with access to domain experts, with some knowledge series, with peer interactions, etc. In terms of evaluation, we will put a selected some of the best ones to go to the next round, which is called shortlisting. During the shortlisting, you will interact with domain experts, and you will have to make a pitch. It is going to be an interactive online pitch, just like as you're viewing us here. We will be conducting online sessions, probably on Zoom or Discord, where you will be interacting with the domain expert, and you will have to make a pitch, which is a proper presentation. We will give you the template for the presentation, so please don't start creating your own templates, because we will be providing you with that template, and then you will have to make that presentation. And if you are selected as a semi-finalist, then you will have to pitch to the 3M panelists. Okay, and okay, so somebody, okay, I'm going to take that question again, and then all the finalists will be pitching to the grand jury. So as you start kind of moving up in the ladder of winning, you will be facing seasoned professionals. So you will also have insights that will help you improve your idea and your pitching capabilities. And all of these people are domain experts, so you will also get access to their network with your ideas. So make sure that your ideas are compelling. So we are just 7 minutes away from the close of the session, so I'm just going to be able to take a few more questions. But just to close on on this, somebody says, I have won an award from KPMG KICC Challenge. My idea is a runners up there, so am I eligible? So this is trendy ideas. If we can take it on the screen, and Smita, are they eligible? They are runners up with KPMG KICC challenge.
Yeah, so I don't want to comment here on this thing. I think it's important for you to disclose this information. And it's like Indrani said, one of the filters that we use is to really make sure that the ideas that are part of the semi-finalists are not very well recognized ideas. So in the past, we've had instances where an idea has received an international grant, right? And then, it just, we felt that, there could have been other ideas, people who may not have had any support, could have, availed that opportunity. So, I would actually leave it to you. Please feel free to make an application. I won't say don't apply, because we're always in the pursuit of ideas, but it's important to be transparent and disclose, what is the recognition you've received. And I think it is up to the shortlisters to take that call.
Also, just to supplement what Smita said, is that if you don't apply with the same idea, if you have a refinement of the idea, you have an additionality of the idea, please focus on that. We have seen a lot of people who have probably been recognized on certain places, but they say, but they will come to our challenge with a refinement, and they explain that, in the entry form. Then your idea is kind of the next stage. Okay, so I'm going to take the last question for today's session, which is Mayank Bharti. If we can have that on the screen. Mayank Bharti says, we are only in ideation stage of the project. Can we submit proof of concept based on projections and assumptions of impact, as it is not a realization model? Lokesh, what would you say?
Yeah, I think. This is fine. As far as there are realistic, projections and assumptions are made. I mean, even in some of the proposals that we also kind of, pitch in with many of the corporates, But the only caveat that we have is, have your ideas, supported by facts and figures. I mean, if it is at an idea stage, and if it is at an kind of, prototype stage, have a validation. So that is something which is key for us, to look at specifically.
Great,
Yeah.
great. Can we have
Yeah,
the question on the screen? Sorry.
I just
Yeah,
had
yes.
one. I just want to add to what Lokesh said, is that we are very careful about, just an idea. It has to have some, it can't just be an idea alone. You can't really make it can't be an idea on paper. It has to have had some, it has to be based in some work that's done in realistic contexts. That has to be there. Otherwise, you can just write a great story, right? And it has to show a journey. It cannot be something that you've just thought of. It has to show some kind of journey. So even if your journey is really getting you to be ready to go to the next level, that's okay. But it has to show rigor, it has to show journey.
Great, great. So, and one last comment from my side. A lot of you have been coming to us with the disclaimer. See, entry form has a disclaimer. It's a legal disclaimer. It's a standard disclaimer. Anywhere, wherever you are participating, even in when you have bank accounts, there are disclaimers. Okay, these are legal disclaimers. Please don't be so focused about the legal disclaimer. You will have to sign that. This is a standard disclaimer we have used across season. We are not going to change it because some of you feel concerned about it. But a few things you should not be concerned, because the disclaimer is making sure that the information that you're providing, you are taking accountability of it. And if you land up winning or we promote you, we have control on what you are saying to us. So we are asking you for non-exclusive rights. We are not asking you for exclusive rights. So there is no way that we are going to be confiscating your ideas. Please don't be worried about that. The second thing, a lot of you are saying that we are asking for licensing. We're not asking for licensing. We are saying that it is a royalty-free license, which means that you should not treat us like your franchisees. Okay, so please have these clarifications if you want. that, but disclaimer is standard. So if the disclaimer is something that is intimidating you, we should say that it should not, because all of you are probably making a lot other submissions in other places. It's a standard legal disclaimer, so you should not be worried about it. And if you land up winning, we have exclusive partners, like we partner with a organization called the Optimist Citizen, who do storytelling. We have journalists who will interview you to create your stories. We do not create your stories out of the entries that you make. We do not use that data to just create stories. We bring people, we bring experts who will tell your stories the way they think, like a third party. Okay. So just before we close, a quick minute from
Uh,
all of you. Yeah, yes, Smita.
Yeah, I just want to probably build on what Indrani was saying, was just to give you perspective of how 3M really is looking at, looking at your ideas, right? So, which comes back to the point of, we don't get into the commercialization because we really are not interested in taking your idea from you. Your idea is yours. Okay, we are only interested, or our endeavor is to promote your idea and give it a wider audience. Okay, and we will do anything, everything to do, in our power to do that, which is why the disclaimer is more around, photographs, your the story or whatever the idea that you share is more the story which will be used to promote you, through our partners. So the example that she gave was Optimist Citizen. They will do a series on our winners. They will make sure that this is done. There are social media posts. We also have our PR agency that scouts for articles to be covered or interviews to be covered. If you are from say, a lot of our winners from the smaller towns and cities get the regional media covers them. So these are all the ways in which the innovator and the idea gets more prominence, right? So at any point in time, we don't own any of you. We don't own the innovators, but we are also very happy to see how all our winners, give credit to the challenge as being a stepping stone for them to move further, right? And be very humbled by that. And that is really what we want to see. We Our tagline, if I can call it a tagline for this entire thing, is to give wings to India's impact with innovators. It is to really help people fly, right? So, and we will still maintain that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Lokesh, do you want to give any parting tips? Just under a minute.
Yeah, I think in a question earlier, I think I could have, I think for the Mayank question. So, I mean, could be, the final words are like, if it is an idea, look towards, facts and figures. That's key. And if you are putting kind of, a proposal or or pitch, for the prototyping, look out for the validation. I mean, these are some of the key areas, that we really look forward to.
Great. Jay Jayanti, your parting tips.
Yeah, my parting tip would be spend time in writing the entry form, in filling up the entry form. Please spend time in doing that. If you need to discuss it with your team members, if you need to discuss it with people who are referring you, or your teachers or people around you who you think you can pitch it, just like informally, but do that, because in that way many things will come up, like, and your idea will become more precise. Word it as much as possible precisely, so that it is, because remember, it is the first impression that you're making, and you have to make the best impression in your first impression. And all the best. Be convinced with your own idea, and then you'll be easily able to convince the judges as well. Okay, so all the best.
Smita, thank you. Smita, your parting tips.
Oh, I just want to say that I just want to wish everyone all the best, and please make an honest entry. Be transparent. Focus on what has moved you to make a change, and try and find a way to highlight the uniqueness, the differentiator, and find a way to emotionally connect with with the evaluators, because that is how your idea at least will stick in their heads, and get them to move your idea to a shortlisting phase. So think of these things as how do you make it impactful in that way, right? Because then after that you have the opportunity, if you get shortlisted, you have the opportunity to at least speak about your idea. In an entry form you may not be able to do that, so just be very sharp. Just be very sharp in what you want to communicate.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. We are going to have another session on 28th of July, which is Tuesday, with another panel where we are going to be talking a little bit more about assessment of the entries. But yes, all of you are free to make as many submissions as you want. Not the same idea, but maybe different ideas, resubmissions until 30th of July. Don't worry, make submissions. And if you want to meet us until 28th, every evening, I am available on Zoom from 6:45 to 7:30 with panelists who can guide you to help you kind of resolve any questions you have with regard to making entry or kind of refining your narrative. We are always available. So the details are both on our Facebook and on our website for the challenge. So see you there. Thank you all the panelists. Thank you for joining us. And yes,
Hey,
Lata.
yeah, I just remembered one thing. Just this is for all the applicants, is the theme for this year is ideas for a resilient India. Okay. So try and find a way to link that, how is your idea really going to be relevant going forward? I know nobody has the future crystal ball, we don't know, but how is it going to make India stronger? Right. And because think about it, this year is so critical. 2020 is so critical in that way that anything, the world is looking for, people with innovative ideas to take us forward. So you have a great responsibility, I would say, and a great opportunity to shine, right? So just think of that when you are putting your story together. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. And see you on 28th once again. And see you, some of you, in the evening at 6:45.
Thank you. See you. Bye. All the best.